All right, so today we're going to talk about what is food energy and how can we measure it. So if I were to hold up, which I am going to do, a cheese ball and ask you whether that cheese ball has any energy and how you could measure the energy that it has, what would you say? Well, we're going to find that out today. So one way that we can know if something gets energy, if something gives off energy or contains energy, or this sort of complicated word energy, which we're not really sure what it means, does this cheese puff have energy? Well, we're going to see if it burns. So the way that we get fuel from from gasoline or from oil or from wood or from coal is that we burn it. Well, our bodies do the same exact thing. They burn energy. They burn fuel to make energy. So let's see if this cheese puff will burn. All right, so it's burning, which means that yes, there is energy to be gained in this cheese puff. Now my next question is, how could you measure the amount of energy that this cheese puff is giving off? Well, today we're going to learn how to do that. And I'll blow this out now. Okay, so you're going to learn about what a calorie is. And a calorie is this. So pause the video and just write this down. 1 calorie is the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 milliliter of water by 1 degree Celsius. That's a little bit confusing, but today we're going to talk about what that actually means. So I have here some milliliters of water, and if you imagine what a milliliter of water actually is, it's a very small amount of water. It's about up to here in this little pipette. This is 50 milliliters here, so if you imagine just one of these tiny little pieces right here, that would be 1 milliliter. So a calorie is the amount of heat that it needs to raise the temperature of just one tiny little milliliter of water by 1 degree Celsius. All right, so we're working in ones and we're working in degrees Celsius. So the volume of water that we're going to use today is 20 milliliters. So we're going to just pour this right in here. And we're going to get ourselves another cheese ball. And we're just attaching it to a paper clip so that it stays put. And notice all of our fire protection precautions here. And we want to make this just about under here, about 2 centimeters from the cheese ball to the top of that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just measure the temperature of the water at the starting point. So we want to measure the change in temperature, which means that we need to measure the water initially. And remember, we're working in degrees Celsius. So our initial temperature is 21.1 degrees Celsius. So we're going to write that down. 21.1 degrees Celsius. Is our starting temperature. All right, that's what I wrote down, starting temperature. So now we're going to light it on fire, and then we're going to take the ending temperature. Here we go. I want to make sure that it's actually under there. And if you were doing this the official way, like to measure for actual snack food, like the companies do, They would have a much more exact way of doing this, and they might even have a different way of doing it, but this is just one way to measure calories. And once this goes out, we're going to measure the new temperature, and then we're going to calculate the change in temperature. Okay, so our new temperature of the water is 46.7. So we're going to write that down here, 46.7, all right, degrees Celsius. So now we have our starting and ending. We can calculate the difference, so think about how you calculate the difference, and then you're going to do another calculation. So to find calories equals the volume of water times the change in temperature. All right, so the way that I'm writing it out, the change in temperature, I'm using a delta to represent the change in something. So to calculate the calories, you would do the volume of water, which we started out with 20 milliliters, the volume of water times the change in temperature. So I would find the change in temperature by doing the calculations here. So see if you can figure that out. And thus concludes our lesson on calories.